Frederick II of Prussia, known to history as Frederick the Great, was one of the most influential monarchs of 18th-century Europe. Born on January 24, 1712, in Berlin, Frederick reigned as King of Prussia from 1740 until his death in 1786. His reign marked the rise of Prussia as a major European power, distinguished by military brilliance, administrative reforms, and a complex personal legacy that combined Enlightenment values with autocratic rule. Early life and education. Frederick was the son of Frederick William I, the Soldier King, and Sophia Dorothea of Hanover, sister of King George II of Great Britain. His upbringing was stern and militaristic. His father, obsessed with discipline and military service, subjected young Frederick to harsh treatment, beating him and attempting to mold him into a strict soldier king. In contrast, Frederick's mother encouraged his intellectual development. He received a solid education in literature, philosophy, music, and the arts, developing fluency in multiple languages and a deep admiration for French culture, particularly the works of Voltaire. Frederick's desire for intellectual and artistic pursuits clashed with his father's militarism, culminating in a failed attempt to flee Prussia in 1730. He was caught, and his close friend Hans Hermann von Katt, who helped plan the escape, was executed before his eyes. This traumatic experience shaped Frederick's character. He became more guarded and calculating, determined to excel within the system he once resisted. Accession and early reign. Frederick ascended the throne in 1740 upon his father's death. Almost immediately, he took bold action by launching the War of the Austrian Succession, 1740–1748. Seizing the opportunity presented by the death of Emperor Charles VI and the contested succession of Maria Theresa, Frederick invaded Silesia, a wealthy Habsburg province. His successful military campaigns gained him not only Silesia but also a reputation as a formidable strategist and commander. Despite his Enlightenment leanings, Frederick embraced warfare as a tool for statecraft. He maintained a powerful, well-trained army and was personally involved in military planning and battlefield tactics. His success in the Second Silesian War, 1744–1745, further confirmed Prussia's new status as a European power. The 7 Years' War, 1756–1763. Frederick's greatest test came with the 7 Years' War, often called the First World War due to its global scale. Facing a coalition that included Austria, France, Russia, and Sweden, Frederick stood nearly alone, with only Great Britain as a reliable ally. The war devastated Prussia, and Frederick endured significant defeats, including a near collapse in 1760 when Russian troops occupied Berlin. However, in a dramatic turn of events known as the Miracle of the House of Brandenburg, the death of Russian Empress Elizabeth in 1762 brought Peter III, an admirer of Frederick, to the Russian throne. Peter withdrew from the war and restored occupied Prussian territory. This saved Frederick's kingdom and allowed him to maintain control over Silesia after the Treaty of Hubertusburg, 1763. Though exhausted, Frederick emerged from the war with enhanced prestige. Domestic reforms and Enlightenment ideals. Frederick's domestic policies reflected Enlightenment principles, though always filtered through his belief in absolute monarchy. He considered himself the first servant of the state and promoted a rational, efficient administration. He modernized the bureaucracy, encouraged agriculture and industry, promoted religious tolerance, and sought to codify Prussian law. Under his leadership, education improved, and freedom of the press and speech were expanded within limits. He abolished torture and emphasized merit over nobility in civil service appointments. Despite these progressive measures, Frederick was no democrat. He maintained an aristocratic social order, upheld serfdom, and distrusted the masses. Enlightenment ideals were useful to him primarily as tools for statecraft and governance. Cultural patronage and personal life. Frederick was a gifted musician, philosopher, and writer. He played the flute, composed music, and maintained a court that became a center of cultural and intellectual life. He corresponded extensively with Voltaire, who stayed at his court for several years, though their friendship eventually soured due to clashing egos and political differences. Privately, Frederick was a complex figure. He never married, and many historians believe he was homosexual, though he lived in a time when such matters were deeply taboo. He remained distant from most of his family and preferred the company of trusted male companions and intellectuals. He spent much of his later life at Sanssouci, his summer palace in Potsdam, modeled after Versailles but on a smaller, more personal scale. There he immersed himself in music, philosophy, and horticulture. Death and legacy. Frederick the Great died on August 17, 1786, at the age of 74. He had ruled for 46 years, longer than any other Hohenzollern monarch. He was buried next to his beloved greyhounds, as he had requested. Frederick left behind a dramatically transformed Prussia, a centralized, militarized, and efficient state that would become the foundation for the future German Empire. He was admired across Europe and became a model of enlightened absolutism, balancing traditional monarchy with modern reform. His legacy is mixed, celebrated as a military genius, reformer, and patron of the arts, but also remembered for his autocracy and the militarism that would later shape German nationalism. Historians continue to debate the contradictions in his character and rule, but his influence on modern European history is indisputable.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.